Good morning. I'm Robert Tan. From your wallet to the wider economy, join us as we follow the money. In school, most of us learned algebra, the parts of the cell, and our national hero's middle name, but very little about how money actually works. So we grow up thinking debt is normal, scams are just bad luck, and that some people are just born good with money and some aren't. But what if none of that is true? Today, we follow the money with John Ocampo, founder of financial literacy platform, The Present Philippines. Good morning, John, and welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, John, let's start with this. What's that one moment, that one person, one number that convinced you Filipinos aren't just uninformed about money, but kept that way for some reason?
Well, based on our observation, every time we produce content, unfortunately, marami pa rin mga tao that get themselves into get rich quick schemes.
Yes.
You know, the type of quote unquote investments that allow them to earn a lot of money even if they're not doing anything with small capitalization but big returns.
Yes, yes.
Unreasonable returns. And like every time there's something like that in the market, regardless if it's like online market or offline market, a lot of people still do it. They still put their money there. And they keep asking the same question, is this legit? Like, is this something that I wanted? Is this something that I can put my money in? At the back of my mind, this is something that has been happening in the Philippines for quite some time already. And
Yes.
it should have been answered based on experiences that we have had
Yes.
in the past. And so, even up to now, knowing that a lot of Filipinos are still getting into that, it tells me that unfortunately, a lot of us still are financially illiterate. And so, it convinces me also to keep producing content to somehow educate people about what's the real investment and what are scams and how do you actually become more disciplined in terms of managing your finances and in your financial journey as a whole.
And it's much harder now, especially because, technology, so many social media platforms, so many of you. It's quite a crowded space. But based on your observation, Jan, after years of teaching this in your platform, what mistake do Filipinos still keep making that should have disappeared by now?
Okay, connected to my first answer was that they still get themselves into scams, right? So it should have been something that been disappeared for quite some time because there are a lot of things that happened in the past also. But also, before investing, one of the principles that we share to people is that before you even invest your money, before you even think about growing your money, you need to understand how to manage your finances because you don't have something to invest if you don't have extra cash.
Yes.
But the thing is, what people do is that they put everything into investments without saving up for their emergency fund first. And that's not good because when you do that, if in case there are bad things that happen in your life, which sometimes that happens, like we get sick, our family members get ill. So what happens is that we tend to find ways to get the money from different people by borrowing money or even selling our investments at a loss because we don't have the emergency fund, right? And so I think it's very important that the mindset we're in, before we even invest the money, we need to set up our savings first. We need to manage it first.
Yes.
But still, in the past and even up to now, people want just to grow their money without setting up their back like emergency fund.
Yes.
You know.
Well, you mentioned
So,
savings
yeah.
first, right? But especially right now, we're in crisis mode. There's so many people who are tightening their belts even further, pulling up their
True.
socks more. It's kind of hard to see that right now because if you say that saving first seems like an insult to someone choosing between rent and food, and again, those who are tightening their belts. Now, what do you actually tell them, and what can't advice fix?
Okay. That's a very good thing because especially right now that the situation in the Philippines, like we are in crisis mode, everything is very expensive, inflation is really high, and the income is still like sufficient for some people, but some are not really having a good time in terms of like making money.
Yes.
And so what we give or like advice to them, and this is also that we something that we do with our personal finance, is that try to audit your current financial situation. And how you do that is very simple. You can be tech savvy enough to get like Google spreadsheet or like Microsoft Excel, or just grab a pen and paper, write your income, write down your expenses, detail it, and then balance it out. So if you notice, based on your auditing your financial situation, and if you notice, uy, parang kulang talaga, even if you have a lot of, even if try mong i-save yung pera, pero kulang talaga siya sa basic needs, and you don't have a choice but to find ways to generate more income. Because before you even manage your finances, you need to make money. That's why we have jobs. That's why we find ways to generate income, because we need to make so that we can manage it, right? And so, kung kulang talaga siya, you cannot save first. I understand na parang insulto siya for some people, because it feels like, grabe naman to, parang ang hirap na ng buhay ko, and then kailangan pa mag-save first, and it's not realistic. I get it. I understand that, you know? So, that's why you need to audit it, so that you can see if you need to make more money, or maybe adjust your expenses. Baka may mga expenses na pwede nating bawasan. No? And so, if you see that, it's easier for you to find out a solution. Can you make more money? Can you reduce your expenses? Or best of both worlds is make more money and manage your expenses better.
Now, John, you show this in your platform, trying to teach financial literacy. But looking at yourself first, when did you first learn about all this? How fast were you able to decide which is financially good for you to do, and which one is also, when you're putting out on your platform all these tips and tricks and advice, when was that first aha moment that you said, tama pala, these are the things that we really need to do?
Okay, so a little bit of background is that at the age, like at an early age, I got myself into like a business with my brother. It's a cell phone accessories business. And then from there, I got myself into the business world. But I was very young at that time, so I was just like his secretary or like assistant. But I got exposed to the business world. And then after that, eventually I got into like speaking engagements, direct selling, and then I earned money from there. At the same time, I got myself into employment for a total of 6 years and 7 months. And I noticed that myself, I earned money, and I was able to manage it the right way. I was able to save some of it. I was able to invest some of it. But some of my coworkers keep telling me about their situation financially. Like they don't know how to do it and things like that. So I try to share my experiences, right? Which is the very simple formula. Income minus savings equals expense. That's the very simple thing. And so from that conversation with my fellow workers, they told me, all right, they learned something from me. And then I also noticed that one of my skills is sharing something a little bit complicated to make it simple enough for people to understand. And from that experience, I decided to, okay, let's try to share content. And that was like 7 years ago or 8 years ago. TikTok didn't even exist back then. We started with Facebook. We started with YouTube, actually. YouTube and Facebook and then Instagram. And then what I just really do is I just share what I do with my personal finance. And that's the reason why it's called personal finance, because it's very personal.
To you.
Every single thing that you do with your money is different. Like my strategy, my approach may not be the same as yours. My approach may be effective for me, but it may not be effective for you. That is why I keep on that is why on my videos we keep on saying that this is what we do, but it really depends if you try it out and then see if it works for you.
So it's not really a cookie cutter kind of thing. That's why you mentioned it's really personal, how you learn about money. But John, when did you actually learn about money? Growing up, going through school, did you learn it through school, or did you learn it as you started your own business when you graduated? And do you think that's enough? Because that's an argument today, no, Jan, na hindi masyadong pinag-aaralan in the schools at an early age about money. even in graduate school, it's not learned. They teach you about finance, how to look at financial statements, but in actual, learning how to save, how to invest, hindi masyado tinuturo yan. What's your take on that?
Actually, that's true because we get invitations from schools as well to conduct like seminars about financial literacy, and especially to those who are graduating, which to be honest, I find it to be a little bit late because they should be understanding the super basics of money. Siguro earlier pa dapat, like grade school pa, kahit fundamentals lang, no? And then to answer the first question, kung like when did I experience it? I actually parang na-realize ko na siya when I started working. And I started working earlier, like around 16 years old. I was a working student, no? So parang I went to school, tapos nag-work, tapos I earn money, I try to save it. And then doon ko na siya na-realize na hindi pala ganun kadali mag-ipon ng pera, hindi pala ganun kadali mag-make ng money to generate income. And so that's why I value every single peso really seriously.
How early were you able to learn that? How old were you when you first learned about, money and how to value it?
I think with the maturity at that time, it was like 16 years old, right? Because I got myself into direct selling. But even prior to that, as I mentioned, I worked with my brother, and then my salary was just actually ice cream or like playing games, maglaro ng badminton na wala akong binabayaran because I was like very young, 10 years old, 12 years old. But I already see the value of work. And work, if you work, and if your work is valuable, then you will make money. So parang na-relate ko na siya doon. Okay? Pero yung income talaga, kuha mo na yung pera, and then the urge of spending it because you now have the capacity to spend your money. Iba rin yung feeling na yun eh.
Yes.
So I think I got that parang sa 16 years old na. And dahan-dahan, meron ako na experience, meron ako na learn na okay, parang I think what if ganito na lang muna. Save muna tayo, ganyan, hanggang it became like a result na, effective pala tong ginagawa ko. That's why I started sharing.
Actually, it's important that at a very young age, you do learn the value of money. You mentioned even schools have sought you to do your, let's say, your seminars in their school. But do you think, should it really be embedded already as part of the curriculum at, let's say, grade school or early high school?
Yes, like really, yes. Because if you understand the basics of it, for example, you don't have anything to manage if you don't make anything. So you need to make money. Kahit yan super basic thing, ituro mo lang sa grade school, no? Tapos siguro pagdating ng high school, you talk about managing money na because at that time, meron na siguro tayong mga allowances, meron mga working student, and these principles like try to save money first, tapi mo lang muna. And then you save for emergencies, you save for your investment account, you also save for the things that you really want, like desires, that's what we call it. And then, siguro pagdating ng college, dahan-dahan, turuan mo na sila ng investment and the law of compounding because if you understand the super fundamentals of law of compounding, you will retire with money. Which unfortunately, maraming tao ang magre-retire na wala silang retirement account. And ginagawa nilang retirement account or bank account, ATM machine, yung kanilang anak.
True.
Diba?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really think if we can teach them science, English, math, and history, why not just add a little bit or kahit na dahan-dahan lang muna about money?
Yes.
Because it's a reality.
Now, John, in the space that you're in social media, because the advent of technology has become fast, there's so many platforms right now, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, where we see a lot of content creators like you who talk about financial literacy, who talk about tips and advices of money. And we see it. You sell financial confidence for a living. Now, with this very competitive and so many of you on social media, how do you know you're not just a friendlier version of the problem? You were mentioning may mga iba, they just talk about the get-rich-quick scheme. Marami pa rin nauuto when it comes to that. Maraming nasa scam even even if they're well informed. But how do you see that?
Well, for me, it's true that a lot of creators are now like existing in social media. It's not just about finance; it's also about business, lifestyle, and different types
Yes.
of content creators. And it's not just limited to the Philippines. Also, meron ding marami sa states. And yes, I also see it in my feed. Some people are just flexing. That's what we call it. Parang flexing na marami silang pera. Sige sila count ng kanilang cash and those things. And some are even renting private jets to make it seem to people that they are really rich, but they just rent it for a shoot day.
Parang they're
to
rich
make it-
online pero offline broke.
Yes. Parang mayaman masyado sila tingnan, and so people are now intrigued
Yeah.
kung, hala, grabe, paano to? Tapos doon nila sasabihin na, I have an online program that you can join so that you can do this and that and you make money out of it, and you only have to pay 50,000 pesos, 100,000 pesos. So even if that amount is huge, but since you have seen, quote unquote,
Yeah.
the results, you would think na totoo to.
Yeah, but that actually that actually becomes dangerous, especially there's so many young people online looking up to some influencers. But before we discuss more about that, Jan, will be right back. Keep following the money. Welcome back to Follow the Money. Still with us is Jan Ocampo, founder of financial literacy platform, The Present Philippines. Now, Jan, let's look at this now. The schools, the parents, or employers, pick one to blame. And what do the other two get away with?
Wow, pick one to blame. That's a very, sige, hindi na siguro blame, pero at least
Okay.
pa lang improve, yun na lang.
Okay, sige.
So, I think a very important, kumbaga, if I were to rank it, schools, parents, and then employers to improve, my answer would be, I'm a new dad, so I think the answer would be parenting is the first way to improve it. Second is the schools, and then the third is the employers. Because really, if you think about it, the role of employer is to provide a job, and then that job allows the employee to earn money. Diba? Yung mga training, yung mga personal development trainings na kinakonduct ng mga companies, those are add-on bonuses. Parang, ano yun nila? It's for them to help their employees out. But it's not really parang required, if you really think about it. But they just give it because they care about their employees, right? Because sa amin, there are companies that are inviting us to conduct that, to add value to their employees, while others don't even care about it.
Well,
Diba?
tama
So,
naman. I guess it
add-on.
has to start at home, right? The parents
Yes.
in teaching. Because if you're familiar with the phrase, monkey see, monkey do, kung ano yung
Yes.
nakikita ng kids mo na ginagawa mo, usually yun ang sinusundan nila.
Yes. Kaya, or like other term namin yan is more is caught than taught. Diba? So habang tumatanda yung ating anak, ang nakikita nila is, hala, Daddy, sabi mo, hindi tayo mag-spend ng money.
Pero
bakit
gastos
tayo
ng gastos.
nag-spend ng money? O parang,
Nag-online
ikaw,
shopping.
no? Bakit tayo palagi nasa mall? Bakit ka sige swipe ng credit card mo? Sabi mo mag-save tayo ng money. So yung mga ganong situations, diba? So that is why I think the parenthood, if you are financially literate, the values that we teach to our children is very important, diba? And so the schools amplify what we teach at home.
Yes.
No? So parang hindi siya baliktad na parang ano yung naturo sa school tapos parang tayo yung amplify. Parang tulungan siya. Pero for me, everything starts from parenthood. Kasi ever since your child was very, very young, newborn, eventually naging ano na siya, infant, tapos toddler, habang tumatanda, ikaw yung palaging nakikita. So your actions about money, about life, about relationships, about everything matters more sa kanila. So
Now, John,
yun.
let's look at the Gen Zs. They have more financial information available right now, more than any generation before them. But we still see scam losses among the young Filipinos, and it's still climbing. What's actually going on there?
Okay. I think based on my, again, observation, and I also work with Gen Zs, is like, as of now, they have this mentality wherein well, not to generalize, right? But some of them have this mentality of sense of entitlement. And unfortunately, it's because of the influence of social media also. Because there are a lot of content, out there that I'm doing this job and then this is the amount that I'm get paid for. And so it's not enough. So sometimes it's true, but we also have to realize, especially siguro tayo when we started our professional journey, pag wala pa tayong kabuga, then we need to start from nothing. 'Di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng graduate lang tayo automatically yung kita natin dapat 50,000 pesos per month na just because we're a graduate. Iba kasi yung iba kasi talaga yung work, no? So we try to prove ourselves. And because of that, I think ang nangyayari rin ngayon is that since Gen Zs like to do less with more, they also get themselves into that kind of financial space where if they see that there's an opportunity for them to do less and more money, then dun nila ipapasok yung pera nila.
Now, John, whenever you put out your content on your social media platforms, getting to more than 2 million viewers, that kind of space. Before you upload your content, do you look at yourself, the kind of responsibility, the kind of accountability that you should have whenever you put out this kind of content? Because so many will see it, and if you're a very influential content creator, people would follow you. What keeps you up at night whenever you try to think of the content you try to put out and make sure that it's the right thing?
Yes, I always try to make sure that the content that we produce is valuable for the audience. That's why I try to make it informational at the same time, educational, a little bit of entertaining maybe. But the core of it all is that if we have brand deals, because that's, to be honest, that's one of our ways for us content creators to make money, right? Let's just be real about it. There are a lot of offers or deals that were presented to us, but we don't accept it even if the amount is lucrative. Why? Because we think that it doesn't really add value to our audience or to those people who are going to watch the video, right? Because some of them, they want, well, to be frank, some of them wanted to promote a certain cryptocurrency, okay? And
Guys,
they are
as
willing
a
to pay.
financial literacy tip and trick, right? So
Yeah,
that's what we were
yeah.
talking about a while ago. But John, there's so much to talk about this financial literacy space. If we had more time, we could really talk for hours talking about what needs to be done. But right now, let's move to our rapid fire segment. Just answer yes or no. You don't need to explain your answer. Okay, let's start with this.
All right, let's do this.
Is financial literacy enough to break the cycle of poverty? Yes or no?
No.
No. Hirap. Okay. Should the government regulate financial influencers like you the way it regulates banks? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is being debt-free always the right financial goal?
Yes.
Now, in the advent of technology, will AI create more financial opportunities than financial scams over the next 5 years? Yes or no?
Definitely yes.
And is AI becoming the new financial advisor? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sad to say. Okay, and finally, Jan, you've been doing this for a while, sharing to others, but on a personal level, how do you follow the money?
Well, I follow the money based on the results of it. Like I don't follow the money based on what people are saying about it. I just see, okay, show me the financial statements. Every time I invest, for example, in the stock market, because I like to invest in the stock market, I like to look at the two things: profile of the company and the financials of the company. So at the very least, I need to know how the company is making money. What's their business model? What products or services do they offer to the market? And then sa financial side, I try to look at the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a CPA. I'm not like an accountant. I'm not like really a math nerd in a way. I just look at the net of it all. Like for example, in the balance sheet, asset minus liabilities equals equity. So it should have equity. Same goes with income statement. It should be profitable. So because the logic is this: if the company or the asset that you're investing is earning money, and you as an therefore you as an investor, you will also earn money, right? So it's not just about the hype. It's not about the sentimental analysis of people. It's really about what's the performance of the company. Because if it's performing, then you will also perform as an investor.
Okay, on that note, Jan, thank you very much for joining us this morning, sharing your insights and your advice, and good luck on your journey in teaching financial literacy to a lot of our Gen Zs, millennials, even the older generation who watch you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's all for today. I'm Robert San. Thanks for watching. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel, and always follow the money.